I remember when we had first met, you were, I think it might have been after Tempo, but you were doing,
Yeah.
you were kind of, you had built up all of these relationships with folks that were kind of in product roles and engineering roles in particular,
Yeah.
and kind of became sort of a matchmaker for them. Um, Tell us a little bit about that experience, and I think specifically because I think it's hyper relevant to what you're doing now.
Mhm.
Maybe what you learned about attracting, particularly like a player type talent into an organization.
Sure. Yeah. So, after we exited the third startup, my wife and I planned that was going to be it. That was sort of the end of the startup run. My son was born a week after the company transaction closed, and so I thought, okay, great time to switch gears in my life. And so, what we did after the earnout period is I went and started a recruiting company with my then partner Matt Hoffman. That still
Hmm.
exists. It's called Refactor. I think it's the best recruiting company around. It's based in Chicago. They do U.S. based searches. They're fantastic. And what I did there was essentially switch sides of the table. I actually had worked with Matt as an external vendor for contingent recruiting, and then I became the recruiter. And so I learned so much in that process, just about two key things I talk about when you're trying to recruit specifically technical folks. There's always a
Hmm.
reason for looking for a new job, and there's also a reason for leaving your current job. And it's sort of counterintuitive, but the reason for leaving tends to be the stronger thing for you can actually get someone to switch and kind of come into your company. If they're just kind of curious about the space, that's usually not a strong enough motivator to actually go through the whole pain of interviewing, switching
Yeah.
careers, the risk of starting somewhere that might not work out. So I always really listen for a reason for leaving. And the reason for leaving could be anything. I'm
Yeah.
bored with this industry. My boss is not helping in my career. I
Yeah.
have an interpersonal conflict. Those are the things when I meet with people, I always try to understand their path, but also really understand what are they reaching for and what's pushing them. And
Hmm.
so that's been really helpful to frame up conversations and to help people like who actually will want to search and just realize that searching for a new role is a very stressful process. If you're
Yeah.
let's say you work at a startup and you have 3 interviews this week, you kind of maybe don't prepare and you just kind of show up to the video call. That person's been thinking about it for a long time and preparing and rehearsing and maybe even studying questions. And so there's just an asymmetry there where you might interview tons of people and they might do this once every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And so those are some of the things I've taken away from it. And I think it's really helped. I've wrote a lot of these down as well on the Refactor blog, and so I can link that up. But yeah, these are
Yeah.
some things that helped us be successful in hiring.